throwing the yellow flag on Mother Nature. Data risk group Climate X is projecting potential weather-related losses for NFL stadiums to top $11 billion by the year 2050. This hurricane season already, we've seen extensive damage to the Tampa Rays baseball stadium. But this new report says that the NFL needs to be on guard.
That's right. And co-founder and CEO of Climate X, Lukky Ahmed, joins us now. Lukky, the findings from your report are just staggering, to say the least. So I'm curious to know what exactly the report evaluated and what factors went into it.
Great, and thank you for having me on the show to speak about this morning. I really appreciate it. So I guess just to take a step back, we always hear about climate change and things like rising sea levels, but this can feel very abstract to most people. And at Climate X, what we've done is to translate these big scale, often slow moving climate change trends to what we call physical risks. So things like wildfires, floodings, storm surge, and so on. And we're essentially delivering a superpowered weather forecast, except we look way out into the future, decades ahead, in fact, by factoring in assumptions about how those macro level climate conditions that drive weather changes will manifest over time. And then we look at how those weather impacts will interact with our built environment to price those risks into a dollar impact. We've used this latest science and technology to rank all 30 of the NFL stadiums across the US. And we've looked at how vulnerable they are to certain climate hazards. And here we focus particularly on flooding, wildfires, and storm surge, so the types of things that you're reporting on today. Stadiums, especially those in coastal areas, are in the line of fire. And that impact, as you mentioned, will cost as much as $11 billion in climate-related losses by 2050. Wow. Now, the figure underscores the significant financial burden that climate change is expected to place on professional sports facilities. In fact, is already placing on professional sports facilities. And just to put that into some perspective, that hit could be more than the value of some of the entire NFL franchises themselves.
Lukky, that is incredible news just to hear about the operation and the processes that go into that. When we talk about stadiums, we talked about what happened in Tampa. Are there stadiums that are more vulnerable than others to future climate impacts?
Absolutely. So through our report, one of the key findings was that the home of the New York Jets and the New York Giants, so the MetLife Stadium here in New York, is projected to experience the biggest losses. The Climate X report that we've ran suggests that the cumulative damages could exceed as much as $5.6 billion by 2050. And the reason for that is the stadium's low-lying location in the marshy meadowlands of New Jersey that makes it particularly vulnerable to storm surge if a hurricane were to hit the area, such as it did in 2012 with Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah, Lukky, that was the most shocking, at least to me, when I was reading your report in regards to MetLife Stadium. But we have about 30 more seconds. I'm curious to know, what can NFL owners and businesses alike do to help mitigate their risks to weather-related hazards?
Yeah, so the NFL is a business, and they're focused on making money. And they are doing great things on transition to utilize renewable energies. They're looking at different ways to purpose the actual stadiums themselves to be more sustainable in terms of the operations. What they need to now do is look at physical protections for those infrastructure, for surrounding road, rail, and power grid that will help them to maintain a sustainable business in the future. So the big question for me to the NFL is, are the teams sitting ducks, or is this something that they're going to do to take action today?
Wow. A lot of unanswered questions, but I'm so happy that your report is shining light and kind of giving this,
a wake-up call
yeah, for future NFL teams, and not just in the NFL, but really, you think about stadiums and arenas across the country, if not the world. So, co-founder and CEO of Climate X, Lukky Ahmed, thank you so much for your research and sharing it with us this morning on Fox Weather.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.